climate change. I mean, climate change has really helped shape not only America, the entire world. Climate change, we found out, has caused the sea levels to rise exponentially. It's amazing. I mean, if you happen to live across the street from the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific, and you've lived 50, 60, 70 years, you didn't see it rise, but it has. That's what's so sneaky about climate change. The ocean levels rise, but not when you're looking or measuring for a century, like this. So many moons ago, a subscriber of mine named Daniel Fitzhenry, and he's a hydrographic surveyor, and so wasn't his father. His family has been in the business of measuring the sea level for 100 years in Denison, Sydney, Australia. In 1914, the ocean level was at 1.11 meters. And as you can see, it goes on and goes on and goes on, and it seems to be dropping. And then it comes back up again in 2014. But then in 2019, it ends up lower than it was before. And I've shown you this entire video right here. I can't find the original audio to it. But these guys have been, this is their job. This is their job through the government before Australia completely became the New World Order test ground. Their job was to measure the ocean. That's their job. That's all they do. They're experts in it. He's a captain. His father was a captain. And he was like, dude, we're on the other side of the world here, and the ocean's not rising. And I said to him, that's queer. I said that. And he wasn't offended. I said, that's highly suspicious or unusual because I'm 58 years old, and I grew up in Lynn, Massachusetts. We live on the Atlantic Ocean. Seriously, I can literally throw a pineapple grenade from my front porch, if I was so inclined and had one, into the Atlantic Ocean. That's how close I live. And in almost 60 years, that ocean hasn't risen 1 millimeter. Because if ocean rise or climate change was a real concern, we wouldn't live there anymore. Because literally, open the door, you can see the ocean. Do the dishes, that's doing the dishes. In the kitchen window, I'm looking at Boston Harbor. You see what I'm saying? I'm surrounded by the ocean. Yeah, it's all a lie. What they tell people, and they tell the story consistently, they just won't shut up, is that climate change is what's causing all this unbelievably crazy weather. When in fact, it turns out that's not the case whatsoever at all. There's a thing called geoengineering. You might have heard about it, especially on this channel, because I've been doing this 16 years. And I started my videos standing on the Atlantic Ocean, pointing a flip phone at the sky, because Boston Harbor, I can also see Logan Airport and General Electric, where they do the helicopters, the test jet engines, and all that stuff. I don't know why it just got dark in here, but whatever. I've been around planes my entire life. In the first 10 years of my life, I had really bad parents. I kind of still do. My mother died, but, I forgave her. Whatever. I spent the first 10, 12 years of my life locked in a room. No brothers, no sisters. All I had was Mark Twain, animal encyclopedias, and literature. And I read it all because I had nothing else to do. But I looked out the window and I watched the planes taking off all the time. And when I was a kid, airplanes weren't spraying long, disgusting lines behind them, blocking out the sun, making large X's, large squares, large vectors, and then eventually creating some sort of a blanket. And 16 years ago, my first video, I said, hey, is anybody else noticing this? And I literally explained what I was seeing, and I was literally explaining geoengineering before these guys came clean and said, well, we could spray the sky and block out the sun to save us all from climate change. But the weird thing is 16 years ago in that video where I wasn't a truther, I wasn't Richie from Boston. Well, I was Richie from Boston, but whatever. I said, I bet if people ever figure out what these guys are doing, they're just going to blame it on the climate. And surely enough, they did. But better than just blocking out the sun and making it cloudy, They're spraying heavy metal into the atmosphere, which allows them to use frequencies from Doppler and NEXRAD radar stations to mess with the weather all the time. And they can direct the weather, and they have. And speaking of those data centers, every place they wanted a data center, right before the data center was built, there was a weather event that caused everyone to have to leave the area. And that will continue.